Right, good evening, folks. Very interesting weather, hey? Some of you might say, listen, you like the cold weather, the cooler weather. Some of us like it too much. But yeah, how far have we come, hey? A bit of housekeeping, folks. Remember, as always, please raise your hand, please use the chat window. We are sitting on session 11 of 16 this evening, which means that we are literally 3/4 through. We are heading towards the end on May the 27th. Um, I think we've done 2 ICE tasks. So yes, ICE closing date will be somewhere in May. So I will communicate about ICE. Um, then just a bit of feedback. Did you guys see your marks? Did I release your marks today for assignment 1? Yes. Marks out. Guys, your marks, did you see it? You did. All right. Some general feedback. I was surprised that about 80% of you, 90% of the class lost marks with the referencing style rubric. Guys, I'm not going to say anything else about that, but the Emirates Harvard Anglia Adapted Referencing Guide 2026 as on the library's website is the only acceptable and accepted format. 5%, I think I was lenient in some cases. We can subtract up to 10%. If you do something like put an et al in a ref list, that sort of thing, it actually warrants a penalty of more than 5%. But please, guys, I told you this beforehand. It happens. It's completely normal. It's the same thing we saw. We see this trend every year with every module. What I don't want to see is you guys losing marks again with the next assignments, please. It's completely unnecessary. And I think it takes that one sort of just wake up call for the penny to drop to say that, are you really going to penalize me because I used ampersand? Are you really going to penalize me because I used brackets, because I didn't italicize, because I didn't put a comma before the date? Yes, it's not my rule, guys. It's part of the institutional directive, and we are strict, especially with postgrads. Some of you unfortunately also lost marks on late submissions. Remember, guys, again, it's not my decision. It's not me trying to be funny. The system flags you automatically. Remember, the convention is if you have some good reason for submitting late, you have to go through the whole process with campus and log a ticket and provide information. It's almost like bereavement in the family sort of situations that will get you that extension or hospitalization or something like that. And then there will be a ticket and a reference, and then the results will approve and notify us. If not, it's an automatic process, guys. The system flags you and the deduction occurs. 15% if you are late within 24 hours, and the system will literally subtract that 15% if you're 1 minute late. So always a good idea. Don't submit on the last minute, folks. Try to get in early. Please don't wait because the server might bottleneck or there might be some sort of a problem, and then you get that penalty. When 24 hours elapse, the 15% penalty falls away and you get around 0. So please don't lose marks again on that. A number of AI contraventions. At this point, the AI story is a bit difficult. I'm not going to talk too much about that this evening, but AI is not your friend. That's the long and the short of it. I'm going to share quickly my screen where I'm going to show you the assignment 2. brief, guys. Let me start by saying, and maybe I'm not talking to the right audience, but if you are not in a group, there might be penalties if you do this assignment on your own. It's not my call again. It goes up to decision makers. There's certain policies. I'm going to take your question now, Gayatri. But what if they penalize you with 20% because you didn't do the group assignment as part of a group? So please make sure that you guys are in a group. And I know we are in groups. I know we've got the fancy group names here. Invictus, we've got you, we've got the other fancy names, which I liked a lot, the entrepreneurs, the visionary, what was that? We'll see now. Gayatri, question.
Thank you, sir. So that there were two groups already formed, and I'm part of the third group, and there are only three people. I'm not sure the other person. I've tried to message them, they're not responding, or they have not joined in the group. I don't know how to proceed now.
What was the so in the first group, Invictus, we've got Ali, Dieter, Cameron, and Matt.
And that's another question. So we stick with the same, do we stick with the same groups that were formed in the class?
Yes, absolutely. You stick with that group. We're going to work in that groups this evening as well.
Okay,
So Gayatri, I see you are with the entrepreneurs.
yes.
It's yourself, it's Noah, Stacy, and Machidiso. So,
Okay, so then there was a discussion in the WhatsApp group saying that the people formed different groups from that for the assignment. I was under the same assumption that these groups are going to do the assignment too.
yes.
But there were different groups formed. The original entrepreneurs group is no more for
Look,
assignment two.
so here's
Um,
my take on that. I don't divide you guys into groups. Some lecturers do that. I don't do that at all. I literally say, guys, I want you to self-organize this. And I leave that up to you. If there's any reason now to go into different groups, I can't see why. The whole idea, listen, guys, we've done some group work on some occasions during the semester, and the whole idea was to form those groups um, so that you guys can get familiar with your group members, identify strengths and so on, and see, listen, how can we go forward? Because it takes a bit of time for a group to get to a place where your performance uh, is where you want it to be. So maybe we should take that offline, but I can't see why we should go into different groups. If you say, listen, you insist or people decide, again, I'm not going to intervene there. The only thing that I do know is that if you are not in a group, it's going to be a problem. So, right, 4 members. You guys are 12 in class. So it literally comes down to 3 groups of 4 members. There's one student, his name is Menu. I haven't seen Menu. Eva, I don't know if you guys know him. Ali, I don't know, you've got more contact with the students. I don't know if you guys see Menu in other classes. I think it's Menu Barnard or something. I haven't seen Menu. But obviously that last group, it was Tabile, Benjamin, you were in that group as well. And then I think we had Divakar and Menu. What was the name quickly? Just remind me again, Ben, what did we call your group? Something like Visionary Ventures, or what? Can you remember? Ben?
I think we called ourselves the Royal Guards, if I remember well. I'm not sure.
Okay, I've got something like Visionary something here, but all right. You say the Royal
The Royal Guards. I think
Guards,
Tabile can confirm because she's the one who came with the name.
like the guys that look after the Tabile is here, ne? Tabile, what do you say? The Royal Guards. Guys with the red uniforms that look after the Queen. Okay. Guys, so yeah, my directive, my advice to you is just stick to those groups. Stick with Ali, Dieter, Cam, and Matthew if you're comfortable with that. Machidiso, Noah, Gayatri, and Stacy, entrepreneurs if you're comfortable with that. and the rest. And of course, guys, I'm not gonna be Ali says you haven't engaged with him. If there's any reason to change or to deviate from that, then of course we can do that. But make sure you are in a group. All right, this is a group assignment. The pass date for this is 29 April. Am I correct? That's the pass that I'm seeing now. Please confirm. Ali, anyone? Week from now? Dieter says yes. So guys, I will communicate about this, but you can make a note so long that the presentation component will occur next week in class time. There's a presentation component. We are scheduled. So I want you guys to make that part of your planning, that we will facilitate the presentations in our session next week, same place, same time. And then, of course, we will you will also submit your copies on ARC on that date, which is a week from now. Again, the deductions will occur here, so please don't do that. Make sure that you don't lose marks. Literally about 8 or 9 of you lost marks, so please guys don't do that. All right. Part 1 includes the document to be submitted on ARC. Part 2 then consists of the presentation to a panel of judges. Yeah, the panel of judges, I don't know about that, if we're going to call ourselves judges, but that's a nice way to look at it. And of course, we've got the rubric as a guideline. There's a peer evaluation that needs to be completed for each team. I think we spoke about the peer evaluation last time, and I don't know if it's attached here, if there's a peer form here. I think you guys said you did see the peer evaluation in another assignment. Can I quickly go over the peer evaluation so that you know where I stand with that? I did share this, but I want to share this again in preparation for the submission a week from now. My take on the peer evaluation is simply this, guys. I don't want anyone to make light of the peer evaluation, but I don't want anyone to misuse or abuse the peer evaluation. I think it accounts for a 5%. Yes, 5 marks. So my standard assumption here is that everyone deserves 5 marks. When this started way back, it was sometimes the case that students abused or misused the peer evaluation because they had some problem with the peer, and then they used this to mark someone down. It's not about that. It's about contribution to the group assignment. And guys, you have to work this out amongst yourself. That doesn't mean everyone is going to do exactly the same. That's why I'm always saying, please get a feel for who is good with what. Normally, there's someone required that's good with editing. You want the guru that can edit your final document. It's nice to have someone that says, listen, I'm going to put my hand up for referencing. I want to check all the references, make sure there's no discrepancies, make sure that there's no inconsistencies. The referencing is all fine. It's all in alignment with in accordance with the guide. Maybe there's someone who's good with language that says, guys, I will maybe if we split up the assignment and everyone collaborates their work, sometimes you've got a group member that says, I'm good with language. I'm going to consolidate the work, put it all in one assignment, but I'm going to work on the academic tone. I'm going to work on a uniform tone for our assignment and so on. So everyone's not necessarily going to do exactly the same. Where the peer evaluation comes in, if we work from a standard situation where we say you get your 5 points unless you didn't pull your weight. And then the expectation or the assumption would be that group members would agree that a member did not bring her or his pound of flesh to the table, didn't pull his weight or didn't pull her weight. And if I see that, I'm more than happy to award a merited penalty for a group member that does not. So we can even work from that basis to say, if I don't receive any documentation in terms of a peer review, then I assume that the standard situation applies, which means everyone gets their 5%. That would be the standard or the normative. If you do want to penalize someone, I am happy to look at that. And then, of course, you would, and now you say, listen, we're penalizing this member because he or she did not attend our meetings. He or she did not provide the work that was allocated to them. Yes, by all means, let's penalize them. Happy? All clear on that? That's how we're going to work with peer reviews. Thanks, guys. We got it. All right. Each member of the group should submit the same part one of the assignment on mark. I'm not going to mark all of them. I'm going to mark one of them, obviously. Please, guys, when you do this sort of thing, make sure that all group member names are on the cover page so that I don't lose track and I know who's who and what's going on. Then, of course, there's the first part one, the submission on ARCS, and then there's the presentation. The biggest thing here, in terms of the presentation, again, essay format, no, please, full headings, subheadings, cover page, TOC, all of that. A minimum of 8 credible academic sources. I want to ask you something, guys. Do you agree with me? It's much easier to use more than 8 sources in working through an assignment like this. Why? Because it allows you to put together much more answers resting on academic citations. It's easier, listen to me, it's much easier to tackle an assignment with 20 sources than to tackle it with 8 sources. If you don't believe me, go and think about it. Why? You've got ammunition, you've got academic citations that you can use to integrate, motivate, substantiate to support your work. All right. So don't stick to the minimum academic sources. You're making things a bit more difficult for yourself. And remember, guys, your prescribed material is not included in that count of 8. Yes, then also remember old sources. Yeah, keep a check on that. 5 is the sort of benchmark, unless there's historic or seminal reason for using those. Cover page, full table of contents, all of that. You're going to explain, all right, here they're putting out everything that you need to do. I'm not going to go through this now. It's pretty straightforward. Then we're going to say, listen, let's do those presentations in next week's session. I'm going to allow 10 minutes per group, and I will then put up the floor open to Q&As for 5 minutes or so. All members must present, guys. All of you must present. So please, on that evening, make sure that you are sitting on a device where we can do the Teams, where you can have video feed and so on, because this is it's going to affect your mark if you don't have audio or we can't see your face or whatever. So you're literally going to present. We're going to simulate the situation as if we are sitting in a real life classroom. Okay, quickly on that, in terms of the visuals, remember, there's a lot here. The rubric is massively detailed, so everything sits here. What I want to say to you about the part 2 submission, I don't want you guys to put everything that's in the soft copy submission into the slideshow. It's not necessary, folks. Don't try and do that. Don't feel that you should put everything that is in your submission in the slideshow. That doesn't make sense. The slide presentation is a synoptic view of your submission. It's a summary of your submission. The biggest mistake that you can make, guys, listen to me, is to copy and paste blocks and blocks of text, gooi them onto a slide, and run us through a slideshow. Remember, we've been over this. If we had a real life situation in class, which we are going to simulate in our session next week, we are not looking at your screen the whole time. I'm going to look you in the eye. The audience, if they are there, they're going to look you in the eye as if in a class. And we are going to engage and see and follow you as you deliver the content, making brief mentions or referrals to your slide as you use the slideshow to navigate the conversation. Minimum content on the slides. We've said also when you make your slides, please, folks, nothing extravagant, no extravagant themes, effects. Don't use funny colors. Keep it interesting, but professional. That's your answer. Don't clutter your slides. What about references on slides? Yes, you can include references there, but again, remember, I know that the slideshow that you are giving me, you derived from your submission, and I know that you've got your references there. There's nothing wrong with putting in a reference here and there on your slides. But again, don't clutter your slide presentation with references as you would a text submission. That's going to take away some of the visual effect of your slides. What you can do, and I like that when I see this, is you can put a slide or two right at the back of the presentation where you can say reference list, and you can give me in that last couple of slides, you can give me a list of references that was used in the making of your slideshow. But don't worry about referencing every single thing. I know you do reference it when you submit your soft copy, and you make this from that. Make your slides interesting. Try and bring in some interesting visuals there, guys. Put an interesting or intriguing little visual there, nice background, your text there. Our focus is with you as a speaker, and we will bounce our eyes onto your screen now and then to follow where you are going. But our attention and our focus would be on you as a speaker, and your attention would be on us. Again, you're going to look at your camera as I'm looking in my camera now. You're not going to sit and read from something in front of you here and have no contact with us as an audience, guys. So let's try and make this as close as possible to a real life classroom situation. All right. Obviously, we've got the marking here, and this is how this whole story will roll. The group presentation, it's a group mark. So I tend to give people the same mark, and I'll tell you why. Maybe you are not the best of speakers. Maybe you say, listen, I don't like speaking in front of people. Some students, I know for a fact, some students say, sure, I'm so stressed and nervous. Please, can the earth swallow me before I have to stand up and speak in front of people? All right, this is easier. It's on Teams, so it's not that intimidating. But maybe some of you have been doing this type of thing in school, and you've been debating, and you've been speaking your whole life, and speaking is a natural thing to you. Other people are not doing, but I'm not going to penalize. It's a group assignment, folks. So the group mark will apply in terms of that. All right. So that's why different individuals might bring something different to the table. So we award the same mark, but of course there is the collaboration mark, and I'm happy to award 5. We will see what happens there. That's me, folks. Any questions? The biggest takeaway is, if I told you, please don't do this, or don't do that, or you saw you got penalized for this or that, yeah, be mindful of it. Most of us will just get better in doing what we are doing, and you will see your growth. I told you that. You will see how you grow throughout the year. Like riding that bike, just keep on doing what you're doing. Stop doing what you shouldn't do, and become someone who continuously learns and gets better, and navigates better and rides better, and you become a more proficient academic. All right. Then, folks, I want to show you quickly what we want to do this evening. So I'm going to open these groups now. You're going to go to those groups as we had it. Please, that's the way I want it. Let's stick with those groups for now. You're going to go into them voluntarily. And then I want you guys to make an infographic. I think we've had some practice on this. We spoke about, and maybe you got the memo from Ali. Thanks, Ali. That I want you guys to create an infographic. Remember, an infographic is not a word cloud. The infographic is a bit more elaborate. It's almost more in the line of a mind map. Some of you studied with mind maps where you literally put a whole chapter on an A4 page and it's a busy thing. There's a lot of info. Now, a word cloud is something where it's just a lot of words, and sometimes they put it in a shape of a fish or a star or whatever the case may be to inform us. These are words that are relevant to some sort of a topic. So infographic is visually rich and it contains text. The backdrop is entrepreneurial development. That's what I'm going to give you. Guys, I want you to run with this as you please. Listen, if I ask all of you, tell me how to bake an egg, we're literally going to listen and hear the same thing 10 times over. So I'm going to open the gate for you. Run with this in your group as you see fit. Focus on 3 concepts: coaching, mentoring, and internship. I want you guys to think of and incorporate in your infographic at least these concepts: stakeholders, goals, and some theoretical frameworks. And then you present your one-page infographic and explain the content to us. AI can do this probably in 3 minutes, right? Are you going to use AI? I think you might. Why not? Use AI. Let's see what we can do with AI, and let's see what different things we can come up with. I did this exercise at some point with a master student. I'm going to give you a quick view. There was a mind map. There was an infographic. Coaching, mentoring, internships. There's a lot of info there. There's a lot of stuff here. An interesting infographic. Let me see if I've got another example. There's another one: leadership development, mentoring, coaching, internships, a lot of stuff. This one has less visuals, more text-based. There's another infographic. All right, so you guys are going to come up with a one-screen infographic in your groups. And then you're going to discuss the content in your groups. It's 6:30. I'm literally going to give you guys 20-25 minutes. Let's see what we can up with. I'm going to open these groups. Let's make it 20 minutes. It's under pressure, but you guys will do it quick. All right, rooms. And I need to open the rooms. And then you guys can go in. I'm going to leave it up here on my screen. All clear? Any uncertainty? Do you know what the thing is? It's up here. A one-page infographic. Entrepreneurial development is the backdrop. We're looking at the constructs or the concepts: coaching, mentoring, internships. Please discuss stakeholders, goals. See if you can bring in some theoretical frameworks, present and discuss. In your groups, I'm opening them up and you guys voluntarily join the rooms. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Rooms are opening. And as always, you guys can break out and jump in. Thanks, guys. Sabile, are you and Benjamin gonna do WhatsApp?
Sorry, sir, the room's closed automatically.
Hi, sorry guys, there was an automatic close. Are you guys done, or do we need to go back into the rooms?
Go
We
back
could go
into
back
the
into the rooms,
rooms,
just a
please.
few more minutes, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll give you 10 minutes more, 100%. Sorry guys, you can go. I just want to do the settings here. 10 minutes. Save. I'm opening up the rooms again, guys. Sorry. All right, we are back in the main room. Okay, guys, I saw on the chats quickly that you guys sent some files to and fro. So yeah, let's start with the first group on my list, Ali, Dieter, Cam, and Matt. You don't have to all speak. Please share your infographic and show us what you guys could come up with. I'm going to stop my share. Righty.
Thanks, sir. I'm just busy sharing.
Fantastic. I'll tell you when I see it. So, how did you make this? Did you literally ask chat to take this info and make you an infographic?
Yes, we did.
And how much tweaking is required to sort of modify, or was the first version already almost there?
I'd say the first version was almost there. I mean, I just used the basics of what your task was, and then I just added some specific requirements for what I wanted to. Yeah, my prompt just had specific requirements in terms of the information I wanted to present. But what I see, you know, it kind of summed it up quite nicely, and so I thought, okay, that's not too bad.
Interesting. They say AI prompting is going to become the next big thing, hey? Which you can probably agree with, right?
Yes.
You want to quickly talk about that infographic in 1 minute, Ali?
Sure.
What was some of
Each
the
of us
main
will just-
takeaways there? Yes.
Yeah, each of us will just speak to the main key headings, and yeah, so we'll go with like 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, Cameron can start quickly, and then Dieter, and then I will end off.
All right, guys, and literally I'm going to give you a minute each.
Okay, thanks, sir. So I'll be speaking to coaching and the stakeholders in entrepreneurial development. So coaching, defined by PwC, is a structured and guided process that helps individuals unlock their potential through questioning rather than direct instructions. In this model of entrepreneurial development, coaching focuses on building core skills and strengthening mindsets, particularly in areas like opportunity recognition, strategy, and communication. This directly supports key stakeholders. For entrepreneurs and students, it builds confidence and practical capability. For coaches and mentors, it enables more effective guidance. Educational institutions benefit through stronger learning outcomes, while industry partners gain better prepared, work-ready individuals. Ultimately, coaching contributes to the broader goal of developing capable entrepreneurs, increasing venture success, and creating sustainable value for society. So within the 3 pillars, coaching is a foundation. It builds the capability that mentoring guides and internships apply. Thanks.
On to mentoring. Mentoring, as opposed to coaching, doesn't focus on technical skills, but looks at the person as a holistic. I think we need to come up with a better word than holistic, but as a whole being. And it is trying to not convey only skills, but to share experience, to share intimate knowledge, the way a former Springbok or a former Protea can teach a person how real life situations look like. And it's really underpinned in transferring tacit wisdom more than explicit knowledge. It's about shaping identity and looking at the person as a psychosocial being and being able to find ways in which the entrepreneur develops not just as a technical human being of this field and skill that we're studying in this module, but as a human being. And this is very much part of the Bandura theoretical framework. It's really learning through observation, interaction, modeling, mentoring, and guiding.
Matthew, thanks.
And then just lastly, in terms of internship, I'd say internship is it's more of a temporary work experience We students or aspiring entrepreneurs, they work within a business to gain, it's more gaining the practical knowledge. And basically it can happen in any type of environment, let it be startups or small businesses, sort of any firms, venture capital firms, or sort of innovation hubs. I'd say in terms of the goals, how it help individuals, obviously to gain real world experience. They can understand how businesses operate. There's also obviously they develop in entrepreneurial skills and learning from sort of people that have had real world experience, or that have just has more knowledge. And then I would just say kind of like the benefits of internships. I'll say from the intern point of view, it's obviously the practical skills, the industry exposure. There's networking opportunities, and obviously learning from different entrepreneurial mindsets. And then I think also from a business perspective, it's just getting fresh ideas from young people. Yeah, so that's what I can just sum up in a nutshell in terms of what the goals and the benefits are for and what internship is all about.
Thanks.
And that's
Thanks a
me.
lot. Nice infographic, nice visuals, nice content. Tabile, Ben, were you guys able to put something together that you want to share with us quickly? Please also email me this infographic, folks. We're gonna go a minute or so over. Tabile, Ben, I'm seeing your, yes, it's coming through. Ben, quickly tell us what's going on in this infographic. Thank you.
Tabile will start its coaching,
Tabile,
mentoring,
right? Sure.
and internship.
Sure.
Okay, I will start with coaching. So basically, coaching kind of like provides a structured skill building and mindset training that essentially prepares entrepreneurs for real world challenges. So we were asked to also integrate the stakeholders. In this instance for coaching, I would say the stakeholders will probably be the entrepreneurs as well as training institutions. And then in terms of goals, I will say coaching, what it basically does, it builds confidence, it enhances leadership, and it also sharpens entrepreneurial skills.
Unlike coaching, mentoring, it's collaborative relationship. It's more experience-based. Individual guides and support based on their personal and professional development by someone who has a more experience compared to the other one. It is structured and flexible, a relationship between the mentor and the mentee. Mentoring is often long-term and broader, focusing more special on career, personal development, and in a long-term goals. Mentoring relationships can be formal, informal, may occur in workplace, academic settings, or in youth programs. So our theoretical framework is based on developmental network theories, which focus more on support and learning partnership aspects of mentoring, which can be applied in careers. These frameworks provide a solid foundation for designing effective coaching and mentoring programs, ensuring that they are aligned with goals and needs of the participants. Then
Right, let's move on. I want to ask you that you guys also, I see ChatGPT, you also put prompts into chat, Ben, Tabile, and this is what you got, and then you did some tweaking obviously as well.
yes.
There's internships. Wow, there's a lot here. It's amazing how much info you can get. I mean, you guys can literally talk for hours on this, right? If you were to make this type of thing, I mean, most of us are not design specialists, ne, folks. If you were to make this sort of thing in Canva or somewhere else, it would take you more than 10-20 minutes, right? And here chat makes this for you quickly. It's quite amazing, right?
It is.
I'm seeing your internship story down below there. I think that's fine. Nice, interesting graphics, interesting visuals, lots of info.
Yes.
You want to say anything in closing, or are you guys ready to, can we move on?
No, we're okay. We can move.
Thank you very much. All right, Gayatri, you guys can share. Thank you. Looks nice. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Dee. Gayatri, you guys can throw up yours, and then we're gonna land.
Okay, we got out of the class, but I just wanted to confirm if Noah and Stacy are ready.
While you guys are setting up, I want to quickly share this with you. So normally coaching, you pay for coaching. Most of you have been coached in some way. Maybe you had a soccer coach, a swimming coach, a tennis coach, a sports coach, an academic coach. You normally pay for coaching. And then, of course, mentoring is a much more of an informal, almost organic process. And that's something I want to also ask you guys. Are any of you being mentored at the moment? In other words, you are a mentee. Are some of you providing mentorship to other people? And it's something I want you to consider and think about. Nothing wrong with standing in both those relationships, right? Being mentored and mentoring someone, taking someone under your wing. Depositing wisdom, skills in someone. It's a wonderful thing, and I think we see much too little of mentoring, as it were. And it's something that I think both the mentee and the mentor can gain great fulfillment from, guys. So if you're good with something, it might be time for you to mentor someone, hey? Then internships, some of you might end up in this ridiculous catch-22 situation where you want to find a job somewhere, but they tell you don't have experience. So people nowadays, more and more young people, literally enter the working market by doing intern work without remuneration or for minimum pay. And it might sometimes maybe boil down to cleaning floors or making coffee, but then at least there's a foot in the door. There's a lot to say about internships, and we can have, it's a pity that we only have this little time to discuss that. But interesting, three distinctly different things. Let's hang on a few more minutes for Noah, Stacy, and Gayatri to show us the infographic that you guys did. And please then remember to email me one representative from each group. Thanks, guys. We're ready for you, Noah, Stacy.
Okay, sharing now.
Right, I'll tell you what I see. Okay, nothing yet. Okay, something is loading. All right.
Can you see it now?
I see it. Yes. So obviously it's not a one bird's eye view. It looks like you're gonna have to scroll down a bit, but that's fine. We do see your visuals. All right, guys. Let's jump in. I'm gonna give you a few minutes. Yes, you can go.
All right, so we try to do it the old-fashioned way, I guess, on our own. Doesn't look as good as the others, but hey. So I'll take care of coaching. So when it comes to coaching and when it comes to the different part of it, to, for example, stakeholders, we have different of them. We have entrepreneurs, we have mentors, investors, and incubators or government. So when it comes to the entrepreneurs, when it comes to coaching them, it only or will most likely will come to applying learning. And when it comes to mentors, it will comes to guiding and challenge thinking so that they can help and provide good information to the people that they are mentoring. For investors, it will come to fund growth, how to help them grow whatever they're investing into a company. And for government, it will help to provide support and training to the people that they are teaching to and taking care of. When it comes to goals, we are focusing on building skills and confidence for the people, improving decision making, and achieving business growth and sustainability. And when it comes to theoretical framework, There's human capital theory, which focuses on skills and improved performance. Social capital theory, which focuses on networks, create opportunities, and experiential learning, which focuses on learning by doing.
Okay, we can move on to mentoring. Mentoring is the long-term relationship where an experienced person guides someone's personal and professional growth. Our key stakeholders are mentor, which is the experienced guide, the mentee, in this case, our entrepreneur, and then we also have the industry network. Our core goals are career guidance, knowledge transfer, personal development, and building professional networks. Crum's Phases 1983 is a theoretical framework which includes initiation, which is the relationship beginning, and expectations are set, and then we have cultivation, which is the trust grows and learning peaks, and then we have separation, the mentee becomes independent, and then we have redefinition, which is peer friendship or closure. The key difference of mentoring from coaching and internship is that mentoring is relationship driven, not task driven. The mentor shares wisdom from experience rather than teaching specific skills.
So internship, it's a temporary professional experience. It's short term usually. I was a part of internship program back in India. So it's a supervised practical work. We gain experience at the end of an internship. We come out gaining practical experience about what we've actually learned. The goal is, of course, exposure and practical experience. The stakeholders are supervisors, hosting organization, and Kolb's experimental theory helps. So it's learn, reflect, and whatever we have learned, we apply it, implement it, and then we have a new experience again. Thank you. So I've tried ChatGPT by giving a prompt, but it has given me the same one as the example you have shown, sir.
Interesting. Thank you very
It's
much.
Yeah, it's as it is.
Entrepreneurs.
I've got the same one.
Really, you guys did this in Canva. I think it's a good effort, hey, and lots of interesting insight here. I must tell you guys, I like the wisdom part of mentorship a lot. I saw you sent that file, so that's what chat gave you, hey, folks. That's us again. 10 minutes over. Thank you very much. I think there's a lot to unpack here still. So I'm going to leave it here. Tabile, is that a hand? You're welcome to talk.
Yes, I just wanted to request just about 2 minutes of your time when the session ends, please.
Okay, you want to stay behind and talk?
Yes, yes.
That's 100%. Gayatri, question?
Yes, sorry, my group currently has only 3 people. The fourth person, I don't know what their name is, but
It's Machidiso.
no, like I've said, it's new groups now. I'm not sure if they want to go back to the old groups. So, someone's number who ends with 4070, please, if you can join the group, we can start the work.
Okay. So it was Machidiso. So I'm not sure. The way we had it was there were 4 members in the first group: Ali, Dieter, Cam, Matthew. Then it was you, Stacy, Noah, and Machidiso. And then we had Benjamin in Tabile. In that third group, Divakar did submit assignments. So I do believe Divakar is enrolled. I think Menu is maybe not on the program. Maybe Menu deregistered. But yeah, guys, please make work of this and make sure that all these groups are sorted. I will also communicate officially and ask the results team to get in contact with you guys as well, just to highlight the importance of joining a group. Stacy, yes, question?
Good day, sir and colleagues. This is to
Right.
answer Gayatri. I think Akli is on the group. I think that's her name. I think she's just not present today, but she is on the group.
So I have only 3 members in the group right now. One of them is Meno. They one is and the other one I don't have their name, but I have their number. I'm not sure who it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
did you speak to Menu? Is Menu still enrolled, Gayatri?
Yeah, they have joined. Yeah, I think Meno joined the group with the for the assignment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm the last person to interfere. I'm not gonna sort out this group story, but please do sort it out amongst yourselves. And if there's 12 of you registered, then obviously it's gonna work out in groups of 4. Please don't go to more than 4 members. I think in the assignment brief, they also indicate that 4 is the maximum per group. So please sort that out, and let's take it from there. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you then next week. Remember, the presentations will take place in this session next week, same time, and that would then end the whole process of bring assignment 2 to a close. Guys, you're welcome to move on. I do excuse you. I'm going to stay behind with Tabile for a minute. Take care. Good to see you. Speak again.
Thank you, sir. Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Tabile, I've stopped the recording. You're welcome to talk.